I went into a surgery, which I assumed was going to be my last surgery, and I went under, but the anesthesia didn't put too much of it. So I woke up mid-surgery.
This is Norberto. Take one, camera A mark.
I was dead for 11 minutes. And I went in thinking this was going to be a routine activity, and before I knew it, I died. I was gone. And doctors are screaming, trying to figure out how to bring me back. People are crying. All of this is told to me. And I'm just there, lifeless, not knowing what's happening. And all of this was literally after just a regular day. I felt like I was just living a regular life. I felt like I was genuinely healthy, but I just stopped breathing. I stopped moving, I stopped being. And that day was meant to be the last day of my life.
You died for 11 minutes. How did you get to that moment? What happened? Take the audience through those events in as much detail as possible.
Of course. So I am someone that works in the education space, and at the time I was working as a part-time speech and debate coach. So I started to get these things called migraines, and I'm not someone that gets migraines. Anybody that's ever worked with me is like, bro, you don't get headaches? And I'm like, no, I don't. It's fine. But I started getting headaches, and those headaches were consistent, persistent. They kept pulling up. So I'm like, okay, I'm at Yale University. I'm working in several states, and it just kept happening consistently. I started vomiting. And then I'm like, okay, I should probably go to the doctors, I think, but I don't like doctors. So I had to push myself to go there. And the doctor that was there the first time told me, no, everything's fine. You probably just need more Tylenol. And I'm like, I took Tylenol. So I don't know how much more I need, but okay. And so he's like, well, we can monitor this. You can come back in 2 weeks and see what's up with that. And a week into those 2 weeks, it got worse. So I was like, nah, I can't do this. So I went to the emergency room because I'm thinking they'll probably they have to see me. And I walked in there and they said, you seem fine. And I'm like, man, with all due respect, I know you're a doctor. I'm not, but something seems off. So would you be opposed to doing a CT scan? I've been hearing that's the medical thing to do. So I went and I told her to do that. She did it for me and then came back a few minutes later and told me we found something. And I don't want to ever have a doctor tell me that. No one does. So to be telling me, oh, we found something after you told me I was fine, I didn't know how to respond. So I was kind of in this fog of okay, what did you find? She's like, well, we found a tumor in your brain, and we need to do an MRI to just verify a couple of things, but we need to do this immediately. And I was like, okay, I have work tomorrow, so can we just kind of wait till the weekend? And she's like, no, you don't understand. The way this is looking, we need to operate on this immediately, because if it is what we think it is, I don't think you're gonna make it to Christmas. And this is December. So I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you have maybe a week left if this is as bad as we think it is. So I'm like, okay. And again, oblivious me, I'm like, let me just sign up for this and see what's up. And that led to, constant things. I had an MRI in the middle of the night. They drained fluid the first time to check certain things. They found out that it was a cancer that I had in my brain. And they started subjecting me to all these surgeries. And in the first surgery, they tried to operate on certain parts, they hit a nerve. And that must have been the thing that essentially took me out. They were trying to operate on it, they couldn't. Then they didn't know whether to be able to resuscitate me or not, or whether they could. And they brought me out of that. They were able to do it after 11 minutes. They were able to resuscitate me, but I ended up in a coma. for like 2 weeks, like just a full-blown comatose, and lost the ability to move my limbs, lost all of this stuff. And again, what kills me about this is the fact that literally I was fine the day before. I was puking, but like I was fine. Like I had my head like hurting, but it wasn't as bad as my entire life being ended in one shot.
Now, 11 minutes, that's a long time. You know, there's risks of you not ever functioning the same. There's risks of how do we get oxygen to your brain and making sure that even if you have a pulse, that you're actually a functioning human being. You're here in the flesh, so obviously you're still with us by the grace of God. But take us to what happens after those 11 minutes.
So after those 11 minutes, everything went blank, and I woke up. I woke up in the operating room. Everyone's coming in to me and telling me everything's gonna be just fine. And I'm speaking with people and we're interacting. They're like, you just have to go through a couple of more rooms, surgeries, like this, that. I went into a surgery, which I assumed was going to be my last surgery, and I went under, but the anesthesia didn't put too much of it. So I woke up mid-surgery and I feel the cuts of all the things, and I couldn't articulate to the person that was operating on me that like I'm still kind of awake. Like I'm feeling everything. I'm feeling the pierce, I'm feeling the scalpel, I'm feeling all of these objects. I don't really know what they are, but like I'm feeling every single piece of it. And then they get me out of that operation. They put me through multiple rooms. They give me creams and all this stuff. And they tell me that like, you should be good to go outside and continue your life as normal. So I'm happy that this was all just kind of like a short stint. And I went and I met with my family and I met with my team, and we were able to finally get back into what I assumed was going to be normal. And I started going to competitions. I started going and just living my life as I would. And then I go to the Harvard debate tournament with my students, and we're there interacting, everything is fine. And then we start talking about the national qualifier, and then my world starts flickering. And I don't exactly know why that is. So they're like, yeah, you need to go back to the hospital just to check this thing out. I go into the waiting room of the hospital, and then it's black. And I realize that all of those months of me getting out of the hospital, all of those months of me getting out and being able to like connect with people, be with my team, all of that stuff, it didn't happen. All of that stuff was in the coma. So after the 11 minutes of me being dead, I ended up going into a coma for 2 weeks. I woke up on December 23rd, and I woke up without the ability to speak, without the ability to move. I literally looked at people that were so happy that I've regained consciousness, asked me how I'm feeling, and I couldn't speak. I couldn't communicate or respond back. So I'm just there, just kind of lying there with my eyes wide open, and I couldn't even see properly, trying to talk to these people, but I couldn't communicate. Like I had to look for like an app store, like text-to-speech app, because I had to do something. And as somebody who's always been work bound, as somebody who comes from like immigrant parents, and someone who's always been like, we got to get this work done, to not be able to do anything was something that I couldn't grapple with. There was nothing I could do, and I didn't like that feeling of helplessness.
Wow, man, that's not easy to go through. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense now. You said immigrant parents, because I'm thinking you have a tumor in your brain and you're worrying about a debate tournament. That sounds like a typical debate coach. So let's backtrack a little bit. I do want to talk about, you know, what happens after during your life, and looking at the schedule. I know COVID is going to come soon. So that's a lot to happen at one time. But let's go back. Tell me where you're from. Tell me about your upbringing. What leads you to being a debate coach that you were?
So I did not like to talk, which is funny because of the track record that I have now with my speech and debate kids. Like, it's wild when people are like, yeah, you know, like, you're recognized nationally as like this top tier coach, even at the age that I'm at. And you're thinking, okay, obviously it's because you've been speaking, like you came out the womb talking and like articulate. And I'm like, no, like I did not like to talk. So I grew up in Highbridge in the Bronx in New York. And one of the things that I knew about that is like, we didn't really have anything to do. Like, people were out there, gunshots are happening, you know, the drugs are like here and there. And I'm like, oh no, that's just like tiptoe past that. Like I'm not out here thinking that's a problem, but it's frequent. So when I was in elementary school, I was trying to like go with like the Mosaic program. Like there were a lot of things to try to do, things that like kind of distracted you from like your surroundings. So I found karate. I was able to do like choir. And once I went through those things and I finally went to middle school, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna lay low and just kind of continue these things. But there was a teacher that came to me and she told me, hey, I heard you can sing. And I'm like, who told you that? Like who actually, like, why are they blowing my cover? And she's like, no, I hear that you can do this, so let's do something like there's a new thing that we're gonna be doing at the school, a musical, and I want you to audition for it. And I'm like, what's a musical? She's like, oh, it's where you act and sing. And I'm like, you can do both? So I was shocked, but I'm like, you know what, let me just try this. Let me just act and like audition for this thing and see what happens. I auditioned and then I get to like the front of the lobby before I leave and I look like from the bottom up because I'm like, obviously like this is a school that is like middle and high in one. So it's 5th through 12th grade. That's basically auditioning for the same thing. So obviously I'm not elite. I'm here thinking I'm a tree, a shrub. Like I'm like, maybe I'm a twig. Like I'm on one of those animated twigs in the corner. Like but I didn't see my name. So I stopped looking at the list. I'm like, I'm just gonna go home. I went home. She called my mom wondering where I was. My mom tells me to pick up the phone and she's like, okay, so why weren't you in rehearsal? And I'm like, man, with all due respect, I'm not a part of this show. She's like, no, you're one of the leads. And I'm like, what? What you mean? And it was the first time that I saw that somebody really believed in me before I even thought anything of myself. I'm out here thinking I'm gonna be low key. I don't need to make any impact, nothing. I just wanted to just get by and do what I needed to do as a student. She wouldn't let me. I go to high school and I have these two debate coaches, these two speech and debate coaches that are like, you're not average. You're not. Like, so being able to pour into me, learning about the semantics, argumentation, all of that stuff, like you're not average. So they just poured into me in speech and debate, poured into me in theater. And then I start moving past this and I'm like, okay, so what do I do with all of this information? Like all I can do is just try certain things. All I can do is just act, speak, see what happens. And I did not like to speak. So anytime I find a student that's just like, talking is like, it's like, I beg to differ, you'd be surprised. And again, from my community specifically, like I started looking at these statistics and I'm like, am I tripping? But the thing about it is like, when we think about the fact that 27% of the entire Bronx, and the Bronx is like millions of people, like it's not like a couple thousand here and there, that they are living in poverty. And then you have people that like have like median incomes like a $46,000. Like that's the median income for the household, not one person, the household. And then you think about the fact that I'm like, okay, maybe I'm speaking, but it's not that bad. Like it's okay because it's like, it's just me, I'll get over it. But to find out that 75% of people in America have a fear of public speaking. Like 3 in 4 people don't like to talk in public is nuts to me. So I'm looking at this as I'm growing up. I'm looking at this even now in our present statistics and I'm like, what can I do with this? And for me, my first thought is, ain't nobody from Highbridge gonna pull up and do this stuff, like actually? But then the other side is, well, why not? I mean, you're telling me that I'm thankful and I'm grateful to have been able to essentially beat death, that I'm now, navigating a place where I'm cancer free, that people tell me I'd never move again, that I'd never speak again, that I'd never be able to do any of these things again, and obviously that's not what's happening here. And you're telling me now that I can't give that same impactful power to students, that you're telling me that the people that were able to believe in me when everything was fine, but I didn't see it in myself. You're telling me that I can't do the same for others? And I think about those Highbridge kids. I think about the Harlem kids. I think about a lot of the kids that I'm like, yo, like I do not care that you came out of the hood. I love that actually. I've been grateful, I've been thankful to have been a catalyst in awarding students with millions of dollars in scholarships for school. to be able to take kids from where their parents have nothing to look forward to than SNAP EBT benefits or welfare if they even qualify, because somehow that's a problem even if you're poor. But to be able to have someone getting full ride scholarships, have money to go to the best schools in America and arguably the world off of an activity that I love, is such a beautiful thing. I've been blessed to have had hundreds of champions, to have had national contenders, to have been able to like have them on the news, to have colleagues of mine, students of mine that have been like traveling the world, being able to use the gift that I've been able to help like actually push into them has been a great thing. So I've seen things at Harvard. They've been the top contenders at Harvard, at Yale, at Princeton. I have students at USC. I have students at Stanford University. I taught at Stanford University, UT Austin. Like there's some that have gone to like Oxford, like a program out there in the UK, like, and all of this stuff. These are hood kids. These are hood kids. These are kids that people get counted out. These are kids that people just assume, nah, that's not gonna work. And like you said, when we talk about textbooks, we talk about the fact that people have to make decisions between going to tournaments and affording $500 tournament fees or paying for groceries. Because if they don't have the funding, then they are not gonna be able to do it. They might not wanna do it. Like you also said, like we're talking about between getting up in a suit to learn a script, to be able to like perform a certain thing or have an argumentation or a claim, or like just waking up, snoring and like, and then like actually like playing Fortnite. Like, and then just blanking out on Fortnite for I guess 12 hours. Either that or like you're out there in like the city trying to do a tournament against people that don't like you because of your skin color, don't like you because of where you came from, don't like you because you have a weird way that you speak, a weird way that you move, you say hi, and they're like, ew. And to think about the fact that these kids, in spite of that stuff, are at the highest level of achievement from like the lowest like congressional district in terms of funding in America, has been a beautiful thing. And one of my life's joys is just being able to use what I've been able to get, what I have been poured into, what I've done, and be able to like impart it on these students has just been a beautiful thing. And not only that, but to be able to have them come back to the generation right now, and it just keeps recycling, because alums are amazing. It hits different. Not to see people on TikTok or whatever social media platform you'd like and see all the success. No, it hits different when one of your like alums, one of your brothers and sisters, one of your like neighbors pulls up. They were poorer than you, and now they're arguably richer than like your principal, and they're half their age. All because of the fact that they're taking this like thing that like they struggled to do at 7 in the morning that their friends clowned them for, and they turned it into a career. And that's the thing, that's what empowers me. That's what it comes down to. It all can only happen through fearless communication. Like that's my whole thing. When it comes to like the power framework I've developed, like you need to have presence, ownership, wavelength. Like you need to be able to have these things, energy, resonance. You need to have these things to fearlessly communicate. A lot of people think that to be able to debate, to be able to speak, to be able to like have scripts and performances, they really think that you have to have all of the lights, you have to have all of the money. No, you have to have a desire to do your best. That's how you start. You have to do it scared. You have to be able to commit to, let me try this out. And then you have to have the proper supports and resources. Because first off, you need somebody believing in you. You need somebody that's gonna look and say, hey, I know you think you're gonna stay under the radar, but I see you. And I see you, and I know you probably think, I'm nothing. You'd be surprised. And to get to a height where, you know, calling back to you, I'm not supposed to be here. You're not, but you are. And now you have a duty to go back and make sure that you empower the next generation of the youth that not only don't have the resources, they may never get them unless you start advocating for them. And that's why I'm so thankful of like the work I do, the work that you do, the work that is done in a beautiful way, because of the fact that like there's no other way. There is no other way. If not me, then who? If not me, then who? I travel around the country on a regular basis speaking to kids and training and doing workshops, and that doesn't matter if I choose to not do it because I feel like it's too hard, because I feel like I'm resisted, because I feel like people feel the way that they feel. I could care less about what you feel about it. Are you gonna help? And that's been the main thing for me. It's just making sure that they get the help that they need, regardless of what they see in their surroundings. I still go back. I mean, I was in Highbridge last week. I'm like, I be going there on a regular basis because that's home. And it's just funny because you got all these people like muscle heads that are, yo, like, what's up? Like, I'm just like, all right, bro, what, you good? And that's the code switching it too, because I'm like, I can speak and be able to like be on platforms without a problem, but like, hey, bro, look, don't get it twisted either. But the thing about it is, I still see you. You're more than your circumstances. Like, you're more than who you've been raised up to be. You're more than your mistakes, and you're more than your issues, and you're more than your your fear. So speak. If all these statistics are telling you you can't, all the things about poverty, all the things about your race, all the things about the money, all the things about people that can't speak, that have resources, but they just don't want to talk, then why don't we beat those things? Because if we don't live life with intention, then we're intentionally failing. And I don't want to live that way.
You said something powerful, and a lot of times people give us a pat on our back for it. If not you, then who? And one of the worst parts about doing what we do in the communities that we do, these kids become more than just our students. A lot of my students call me dad. You know, it's much more than, hey, we have a tournament, we're going to Harvard, yeah, we're preparing a speech. It's about, sometimes it's like, hey, I got to get you a suit because you never had one. I got to teach you to tie a tie because you never learned that. I got to make sure you have food for the next couple of weeks so that you can be the star student that you need to be. And it brings me back to that moment that you went through. And December, for people who don't know, is a really busy time in our career. It's where our kids are facing a lot of fears. They're going to universities that are major, the Harvards, the Yale, all of those tournaments are happening at once. And I've been in situations where I couldn't be present or I had to do things. And I see the way these kids who adore me, who see me as a figure, their anxiety kicks up or they feel this pressure because I'm not around. And when you went through that moment, I know a lot of your kids who depended on you, not just as a coach, but as a friend, as a big brother, as a dad, really probably needed you. What was it like navigating that feelings? How was that moment of you getting cancer and those procedures? How did it affect your students? And what happened once you did recover? Were you able to get your team back in order? Were you able to build that rapport and that trust back with your kids? Because I know it's really easy to lose.
I'm thankful that I didn't lose it. I didn't lose trust. I lost the faith that they had. They lost their faith in whether it would work out. So when I came out of the coma and I had a few students visit me. I didn't even know they knew where I was. But like I had some students just pull up, they brought me like shirts and like things. Some of them just came, looked at me and started bawling. And one of them actually told me the aftermath of the day that I died. They told me what was happening. They went to the speech rehearsal and my head coach, she had said like, hey, like Norberto's in the hospital. And they're like, bro, wasn't he like at practice 2 days ago? And they were kind of trying to figure out what to do with that information. So like, all right, I mean, I guess he'll just come back on Monday. And Monday came and went, and Tuesday came and went, and Wednesday came and went, and weekends came and went. And they're like, okay, he's not coming back. And I feel for quote unquote tough kids, it's hard to be able to express the fact that that bothers you. That you see me as like a big bro figure, now you see me as like a father figure. And that's very needed in education. Because it's not just about teaching. I mean, I'm thankful that I teach masterfully, but I also think that being able to be empathetic is very important. Like empathetic is a very important sacred thing, like you need that. So when I had kids come to me in the hospital, they were crying, they were bawling, they wanted to hug me, but they're like, I don't know if like if I hug you, will like the tube come out, and then they don't know. I don't know, so I'm like I can't say anything physically, but they were just trying to navigate, do the shirts, figure things out. One of them was like, we're gonna like grab you out of the bed, and I dare the doctors to try and stop me, and I'm like, girl, like, and obviously this is a detective speech up, so it was like, girl, what are you doing? You can't be doing this. So I couldn't communicate that. But this all happened, and I actually started to get better right before the National Tournament of Champions. This is like a humongous tournament, something that like the Northeast never really goes to, let alone New York, let alone the Bronx. Like we just couldn't, but my supervisor, she was getting an award and she's like, you need to come to this. And I'm like, I don't know if I can. She's like, you need to come to this, which I feel for her it was code for, if you don't go, I'm not going. And I'm like, I'll try, I'll wheelchair my way to the airport. But I get there and I was working with a student on program advocacy, one of the events, program oral interpretation, where you take a bunch of sources and you basically create an argument based on that. Like, what is your argument based on sources? So we had J. Cole, we had Hamilton, we had all these things. I helped him at the beginning of the year, but then I fell in the hospital, and then for like majority of the year, majority of the season, he didn't have me. So on the day of the tournament, we call it Night Talk, I pull up. And I'm like, okay, here we go. His face when he saw me, priceless, all the hugs, and then it's time to start practice. And I'm like, okay, whenever you're ready. And we just looked at each other and we started crying. Because I'm like, the fact that this actually still exists is so important. This is a kid that like doesn't have a father in his life, doesn't really have family that's been with him. It's just him and his mom. And he's gonna compete for the Tournament of Champions tomorrow. And to have somebody that he sees as like a big brother, father figure back, it did so much to him. And I was so thankful to be that way and to have him over the weekend take 5th in the entire country in this event, like become a national finalist. And the only person of color in the top 20 was such a beautiful thing. And also, may I add, again, the only person from New York in that event. It was such a beautiful thing, and I know for a fact that if I wasn't there, I know for a fact that if the impact that I've had on his life, the impact that we have in these kids' life, he would not have done that. So it's one of those things that I think about him. I think about some of these other kids that have like, taken top 60. Everybody had an award at the end of that tournament. At the Tournament of Champions, every single kid had an award. And I think about the fact that we were all hugging at the airport terminal about the fact that, wow, you are alive. And I didn't know how to respond to that. I was just grateful that we were all there.
Wow, man. What is it like now for you? Are you still coaching? Did you continue to coach after the traumatic event that happened? Take me through the journey of what happened once you were healed. How did your team do? I know COVID happened during that time. Were you able to continue your journey, or did you have to pivot?
I slowed down a bit, but now it was something that I felt was very needed. I feel like a lot of times, like you know how it is, we work horses, we don't really stop. But like to be able to take a moment to breathe has been very great. So I did continue in that capacity. I did do a lot of part-time work, and I was still continuing with them. COVID happened right after. Like we're talking a few months after I got out of the hospital, COVID just hit. And I was like, okay. So in my mind, I'm like, listen, if I die, I die. But like, I'm not gonna be with this cane anymore. I wanna see what can happen. I'm out here struggling to like walk the streets while nobody's in them, no cars, nothing. So I'm like walking the actual streets, trying to just be able to walk again. But I have been able to work with the kids. I was in like the middle school capacity. My younger sister actually joined the school right before COVID as well. And she's somebody that has autism. And also had like speech issues of like communication. So to see someone like her through our work get to a point where like she's one of the strongest like speakers in the country. Like national, like she has a national accolade. She's like a national middle school finalist. And as a high schooler, like she went and like just started beating all these tournaments and like literally like by like a landslide. It was insane. And I think about the fact that like I was able to contribute to that. So I feel that I'm working with these kids still in this like capacity where now I'm not so much so in the classroom. I'm like leading these workshops and I'm developing people, developing coaches and leaders as well to do the same thing, to be able to ignite a fire in them so they can branch out, and also working with the Bronx and Harlem youth. It's been a very important thing. Like the inner city youth has been such a heart for me. So that has also been something I've been committed to. Like in terms of being able to like do workshops, it's like, hey, if your school can like be able to like fund this and like build this and we can like make this happen, yay. If not, all good. We'll pull up, we'll do this because like there's so much that's at the backside of like what you can become. And I cannot allow for you to think I'm gonna fumble that. Because I've already seen what's happened with these kids. I've already seen how it's been a blessing. So I can't play with that. So I'm somebody that right now, I'm coaching some of the students that I used to coach. I do coach them from time Zoom. Sometimes we pull up and like we make this stuff happen. We'll go get some McDonald's and then we'll just talk and then I'll like hurl a chicken nugget at them because I feel like they didn't do it right. But it's all love. It always has to be. Because like every time it's like, I'm like, no. Because I'm just like, but then we just hug it out and just like, hey, you're special. You're important. You matter. And you're going to change the world. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So to be able to bottle that and do that around the state, around the country is my thing. Like it is making sure every kid understands you have the power to change the world. And especially in a world right now where people don't like discourse, people don't like arguments, people don't like to challenge thought. It's like just because we have a disagreement doesn't mean I'm disloyal to you, doesn't mean I love you less. It just simply means we gotta talk about it. But that's what we've been called and created to do, is to speak. So my whole thing is speaking with power. Like you have to have power, you have to have reason, you have to have ideas, you have to have thoughts, you have to have your own thoughts in order to be able to do this well. So I would encourage that because especially, again, where I come from in Highbridge, it's just like, don't talk. Don't talk. Like shoot first, ask questions later. And I've seen people shoot first and ask questions later. And it's just kind of like, what happened to just talking to bro? Like what happened to just, hey, to find out sometimes it's just a disagreement. Sometimes it's like a misunderstanding. Sometimes you guys both agree. Y'all just don't know how to say things correctly. But the communication is something you got to work at. So if this is such a big fear in America and in the world, let's dismantle that instead of just hiding from it. And to do that with students in like the inner city specifically, as well as students around the country, I feel like it's needed.
Yeah. So I know debate consumes our time, a lot of our time, but I always say we're young and we're more than just debate coaches. We're going to do that forever. We're going to advocate for our community forever. But I want to know, and I want to end it here, what's next for Norberto? What's the vision? What's the dream? And I hope you're doing public speaking. And if you're not, I'm going to challenge you to today. So if you can, give an email for people who reach out to you. People who are watching this and they feel empowered, if they feel uplifted. I want to know that they have a way to reach out to you. So my last two questions. One, how do people reach out to you if they're interested in getting some public speaking or learning more about public discourse? And two, what's next for you?
Of course. So people can be able to email me at norberto@troncosoventures.com. So that's NORBERTO @Troncoso, TRONCOSO Ventures, VENTURES.
Oh, I thought you said Norberto@Trunk.com. I was about to say,
No.
what's going on here?
No.
No, you good, man. That was your email.
No, I'm just saying, Norberto, imagine? Norberto@troncosoventures.com. To be able to, like, we speak there. My website is www.troncosoventures.com. That's where you'd be able to reach out and we can connect. I want to speak to people about making this stuff happen. So right now, what's next for me is, my whole thing is I coach introverts to become champions. People that speak from the back now lead from the front. Like I empower students, I empower educators, I empower leaders to make sure that they use their voice, they unleash their creativity, their power, their tone, like they're in doing this because that's the one pivot, that's the 1-2 millimeter shift that can change them from living a life of apathy and worthlessness and midness, as the students would say, and becoming like just phenomenal individuals that can change the world. And I don't say that lightly. Like if you realize that one thing is stopping you from being a global shifter, a world changer, we gotta fix it and we gotta make it work no matter what space you're in. So that's my thing is I travel around the country and around the world telling people and teaching them how to live and how to speak fearlessly. And speak not by conquering the fear, by learning how to be able to move in it. So that's been my whole thing, as well as being able to work with and coach people in speech, debate, and public discourse. Because we got to disagree in order to come to a sense where we actually get better at being smarter. So that's been my whole thing. But yeah, no, Norberto at troncosoventures.com. That's my email, and that's where I can connect with people.
Norberto, thank you for your time, man. I appreciate you. Thank
Appreciate you.
That was good, brother.